welcome to a special video here on the channel. Today we're going to be hopping into a bit of a news item. So they do these developer diaries on Imperator Rome over on the Paradox website, and I've been debating for a little while whether or not to cover them on the channel. But this is such good news that my mind's base has been made up for me. So I'm just going to go over this dev diary, dev diary 101. The most auspicious number, apparently. So this is from Arheo, the game director of Imperator Rome. We're just gonna read through and go over a couple things, and yeah, I'm really excited for what's in here. So let's just get to it. So first things first, they want to clear up something from the last dev diary, which I did consider covering, but I decided not to because it got a bit of a bad reaction, and the reason for that is people were underwhelmed by the introduction of the Tholastic edition, the other team. Now, the dev diary last week featured the Great Wonders edition that the other team is working on, which I think looks pretty cool, and I'm excited for as well, though I can understand why some people were a little underwhelmed with that particular development, and why the developers decided to come up with a big announcement this week. So they're saying that what came out last week is just a small piece of what we can come to expect. Now, so what he's saying is that what they were calling this is the Vitruvius update. So the Vitruvius update is just one piece of what they're working on, so with their second studio. Now, with the big piece of information here is that we're actually going to be waiting a little bit longer, maybe, for this update, and that's because it's an unprecedented scope of redoing stuff, I suppose. They're adding updates, and that's why they're going to give it the title 2.0 Marius Update. So they're not doing 1.6. They're skipping all of that. They're skipping 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, and 0.9. They're going straight to 2.0 Marius Update. 2.0, is this hubris? Well, no. Arheo doesn't think so. At this stage, well, I'll just read it. At this stage, he can only commit to a broad overview of some of the things that he intends to cover with this update that they intend to cover, although he would urge you to make your own minds up after reading the following. The overarching directives for 2.0 are pacing, warfare, and UX. Now, these three things are definitely in need of improvement. So some of the criticisms I saw with the Menander update that came out, and the one before that too, the religion and culture reworks, were that while those things are kind of cool, there are some more fundamental issues that the fan base and the player base would really like to see addressed with this game. And UX is one of those things. Warfare, personally, I wasn't also a huge fan of, and pacing. Now, let me just make something clear. I've made one Let's Play series on YouTube, which I invite all of you to check out. Go check out. I'm a big fan of Imperator Rome. I love this game. I've sunk a lot of hours into it. But like a lot of the players out there, there are definitely some improvements to be made. Right, so let's keep going. Pacing. They want to achieve a more consistent and choice-based progression to the flow of the game. As of right now, much of what the game offers you is available to you from the very beginning. Yes, this is true. I mean, people have been complaining about the lack of flavor in this game from the very beginning as well, from day one. So it doesn't feel very different to play in Gaul, it doesn't play in India, so on and so forth. And part of that is the pacing, part of that is the tech tree, where, you know, there's just not a lot happening over the pacing of the game that makes it feel like, first of all, the time, you know, is advancing much, and secondly, that you are really crafting a unique civilization, a unique culture, a unique nation, a unique dynasty, whatever your ambitions are in the big sandbox world of Imperator Rome. The pacing of it just feels like there's a set amount of time, go, clock goes, then it runs out, it's finished, you're over, and that's that. So, paying some attention to the pacing is great. Yeah, so they'll be looking at overhauling the invention system. Fantastic, that's great news. And the military tradition system, that's also great news, in order to effect a more intuitive system of progression that allows for a sense of advancement and identity to develop over the course of a game. This doesn't solely mean gating existing mechanics, however, this will also tie strongly to new features and additions coming in 2.0. So there's going to be so many additions in the next update that they're going to name 2.0. They're going to be focusing on pacing. Now, pacing, that might be a little bit of a confusing term to use here. It's more to do with flavor, I think. So they're overhauling the invention systems and the military tradition systems. Now, these are two systems that are kind of generic now. I know if they've sort of slow dripped in some unique inventions for certain cultures and culture groups and things like that, but we need a lot more. Now, those trees, the invention systems and the military traditions trees are a great way to add flavor and make you really feel like you're playing in Gaul as opposed to India, and vice versa, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's move on now to warfare. This is a pretty big one. Now, this is odd that Aria has never been happy with the military recruitment army mechanics being almost entirely divorced from historical reality and being largely set apart from the many other systems in our game. Yeah, I've always wondered this too. So you have these just huge armies, especially by the end of the game, of just, like massive, million. Okay, so depending on how the size of your army, your empire rather, you could have easily 300,000 men in your army, and you could easily have 1 million men in your manpower pool. And these numbers are just they don't align with the time period at all. And the military recruitment thing isn't great either. It's not intuitive, it's not historically accurate, and it's just sort of imported in from EU4 in a real clumsy way, I feel like. And Crusader Kings 3 has the levies system, and I've been wondering, since Crusader Kings 3 came out, if they're not gonna sort of port that system over from Crusader Kings 3 into Imperator Rome, because I knew that a warfare rework was coming. So they've never been happy with the military recruitment and army mechanics being forced from historical reality. Me either. I thought that was always really generic, bland. Yeah. So the main military focus for 2.0 will be on tying the recruitment systems, plural with an exclamation mark, into the rest of our simulation, as well as adding a much larger recognition for the cultural diversity of military forces in different parts of the map. This is what the game needs. This right here. Now, we can all go play any strategy game. We can go play any Paradox game. Play EU4, play Vic 2, whatever, Hearts of Iron, Civilization, go play whatever you want. Why would you play Imperator Rome when you have all of these choices? Well, you play it for the flavor of the time period, because you want an antiquity. You want to play a strategic game in antiquity and enjoy all of the rich history of the time period. Now, oftentimes in warfare, in the period, they didn't have huge centralized command structures with, military manuals that every soldier from every part of the empire would read. Rather, different localities would basically send, as tribute, as obligation, their men at arms to go join up with their imperial overlord, whoever they owed it to, and these would typically be specialized units, like Thracian slingers or whatever. I think that they're well known. So if you get soldiers, therefore, let's just go with that example, therefore from Thrace, you want the Thracian slinger. That's the good unit. That's the the reason what you would get in historically if you were to have conquered the area. I'm not sure if that's entirely historically accurate, but I believe it's something along those lines. So you want your armies really to reflect that. That's what they looked like back in the day. They had a makeup of different parts of the empire, because you would need to borrow, you would need manpower from wherever you could get it, and say, the governor of Syria has some extra men he can send over to you, but they're not going to be normal Roman legionaries if you're playing as Rome. So this is really cool, and I'm excited to see exactly what it looks like to focus on this this aspect of the military rework. I think that's really needed. This is an opportunity to add some unique flavor, much needed unique flavor to Imperator Rome. So, moving on now, several astute forum users have noticed that we're going to be removing the raise levies unit ability. I'll leave you to ponder over how that might be related. Now again, raise levies. Now the levies are your normal unit in CK3. And then you add specialized men-at-arms units, which are typically unique to the culture, or not unique, but you need to have discovered them via your culture in a different kind of tech tree. So I'm sort of speculating here. I'm gonna go ahead and call it that they're gonna port the CK3 levy system into Imperator Rome, as well as the men-at-arms system, which gives you the specialized units and the better, more expensive and difficult to defeat. Right. There are, of course, many additional improvements coming to the warfare aspect of the game, from forts and sieges to war goals and cohorts. War goals and cohorts. But let me talk about war goals here for a second. Well, okay, first, forts and sieges, I mean, they're all kind of the same in Paradox games, so it is what it is. We'll see if they change that. War goals, on the other hand. Now, war goals in Imperator Rome make, like, very little sense. They make a lot of sense, again, in CK3. Now, you have the ability in Crusader Kings 3 to claim a county, to claim a duchy, to claim a kingdom, and so forth. Now, in Imperator Rome, it's all just messy. So you have a claim or two, and then that impacts your overall war score that you get at the end of the war, which you can then use to basically buy up, you know, all the territory that you can, regardless of if you have claims or not. If you do have claims, it'll cost less of your war score, and so on and so forth, rather than just having the war be focused on, you know, the goal itself as it is in CK3. So I don't really mind. So since CK3, it can also be frustrating. If you completely demolish your opponent, you can only take a county or whatever because that's the war goal. So I don't really care which way they go. I just want some logical consistency with the war goals in Imperator Rome. Something, you know, of the historical flavor. Like, I think it would be really cool if, say, you know, pretenders to, say, a Greek throne of a city-state, some Greek, say, like an Epirus or something. There's a pretender to the throne. They want to be installed on the throne. They come to you. You're playing as Rome, and they're like, "Hey, I would really like to be the king of Epirus. If you send me back there at the head of an army, or, you know, if you just conquer it for me and then give it back, I will be your puppet." That sort of thing. This should be a war goal. This should be an event. This should be character interaction, because these are all things that happened in antiquity. Right, moving on to UX. And then there's this. This is something we've been keeping under wraps for a while now, and which has been the sole focus of Giroro, our UX designer, since she joined the team. Many of you have expressed a desire for work on the UI. Yes, the UI is admittedly awful, and this is something we've heard. Well, that's great. In this Marius update, no, let's not go down there yet. In the Marius update, we'll be focusing on greatly improving the user experience on an interface level, as well as including a completely new art style, since it'll be entirely impossible to avoid showing any features off without teasing at the UI rework. Here are some in-progress shots of the state of things on our highly experimental branches. The bright visual identity of Imperator was tied to too many periphery elements. Branding key art to change at this stage. It's something we intend to work with and refine going forward. We'll be preserving this lighter style. Okay, so I need to read this word for word. Right, so they're changing up the UI. Incredibly welcome. Incredibly welcome. Let's take a little peek here. Now, I already think that this looks just a million times better. I mean, it looks like $100 right here. So they moved all the stuff at the top here, to the side here. They have like a background image, which I guess should be unique or culturally specific anyway. You have, you know, Antigonus sort of standing here. It just looks a lot better. It looks way better. The colors are better. Everything's more clear. Everything's more delineated. Yeah, it's way better. I mean, I like it. Thumbs up. The map modes, the call to war thing, that's all good. The WIP character window. This is one of our larger standard windows in the new UI. We wanted to give characters a great deal more space and personality by doing away with the beige backgrounds and inserting more immersive background selection system. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This right here, this screen, this is having that immersive background. So hopefully this is a way to add flavor, much needed flavor to the game. Now you have line of succession and pretenders, which was a screen, a government screen. Oh, it still is. So they redid this. This looks fantastic. All right, this just is the government screen with the legitimacy. Wait, this is legitimacy. These are both legitimacy. Why is this 100? Oh, this is era track. This is something. Whatever. We're reworking it. It looks great. They have these icons in the corners now. More artwork and stuff. I do hope they change sort of this up to be culturally specific as well, like they do with these backgrounds. I didn't actually mean to click here, but we'll get out of it now. And right, future plans inspired by some of the popular user mods, such as the Better UI mod by Agamide. Oh, that is a good mod, by the way. I'd recommend it. Are to include balance indicators on top bar resources as well. Oh, that's definitely welcome. As well as showing additional contextual information in the top bar. Cool. While function, reading here, while function definitely takes precedence over form, it became apparent that we had much more space to work with in our newer style, including larger set pieces. Wait, what? Including larger set pieces adds a lot of the feeling of immersion when using the UI. The astute amongst you will notice that we have a new tooltip system. The recent release of CK3 has enabled us to make use of much more intuitive, nested tooltip technology. Right. So, yeah, here's a tooltip bar, right? And yeah, so I'm now even more confident that we're gonna see a lot of the CK3 systems imported into Imperator here, or at least a couple. Right, so let's take a look at this image. So this is the Republic, so it's another government image. Yeah, so it's just a UI rework. Looks fantastic. I mean, they're not really revealing much about mechanics here that are changing, but the UI rework is long overdue, yet very welcome. Very happy to see it. Okay, and he couldn't resist the opportunity to make the Senate feel more alive. Right. Yeah, the Senate should feel more alive. These should all feel like people, to the extent that that's possible. Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this is a new Senate background, I think. Definitely, it looks way better. As you can see, we're working a lot to reduce the size and visual clutter of game interfaces. Yes, tons of clutter. If I may, the screen that needs the most work is the moving pops. That whole process of moving pops, colonizing them. You need 10 pops, but they have to be majority of your culture and religion. And that whole screen that you go clicking on them to move them around, that needs to go. That needs to go immediately. Get rid of that. I hope that's on the list of UI reworks. Okay, and then the new pause menu. Look at that. That looks fantastic. Okay. Take a quick look at this. Right, so settlement, so the Central Delta Plains. Yeah, I mean, right, so they're not really revealing anything new mechanically, but they are revealing this UI rework, which looks great. You have, okay, so you have a Pops tab. Alright, so they're clicking on one settlement of Pacanamus in the Central Delta, right? Central Delta is a province. And here are the Pops screen, so now you have tabs. So Pops, buildings, barbarians. That's very interesting. It's very interesting. Unless he... No, okay. Yeah, Pops, buildings, barbarians. Cool. Yes, it needs to be cleaned up. Less clutter. More to the point. More flavorful. And I like it. All of this looks good. Okay, widely regarded as one of our most confusing windows, we've done a lot of work on the territory window to add some breathing room to information. Right, so that we were just looking at that. Yeah, okay, so yeah, the 3 tabs, Pops, buildings, barbarians. So when you click on the buildings tab, I guess you still get this buildings tab. Oh, or is this a before and after? This is definitely before and after. Yeah, so Yes, this looks much better. Much better. There is, of course, much more to show here. Next week, at Giroro, we'll take a long dive into the reasoning and specifics behind the UI rework. As always, I look forward to hearing your comments, Aereo. Great, so I am definitely looking forward to the next next dev diary with Giroro, who will take... I'm not saying that properly. I'm very sorry. Giroro, I think. So yeah, we're going to be definitely looking at that. If this is content you like, I would very much appreciate, a like, comment, subscribe. Are you looking forward to Imperator Rome 2.0 Marius update? Are you looking forward to it as much as I am? I would very much like to know. I'm very excited, and I'll probably be coming out, since we do have to wait. We do have to wait a little longer. Okay, you'll be waiting a little longer than usual for the next content update for Imperator. So I'll probably be starting a new series of Imperator soon. So yeah, please let me know if you'd like to see more of this content. Drop a like and subscribe. It really helped me out. And until the next one, bye-bye.